The electric anomaly is certainly one of the more dangerous anomalies in the game, but there are a few scenarios where this anomaly can actually be easy to deal with or keep in a secure location. The electric anomaly, as you have just seen, is an anomaly that can actually hurt you without pulsing. There is a percent chance every second that it will essentially shock you in a short AoE around it at low severity. This range increases as the severity of the anomaly increases. Basic Anomaly 101, you use your anomaly scanner, you left click the anomaly, you'll get this UI, you can press Z at any time to open or close it. Here you'll see a list of particles, severity, its current state, and how many points it's generating, as well as any deviations. You use something like a chimp or an ape. An ape is a stationary version. This is not a basic guide for anomalies, but the ape is that. Use a wrench, drag it around. That's the general gist of things. However, this is about specifically the electric anomaly, and we can see the pain that is an electric anomaly. It is very random when it hurts you. However, these random shocks at low severity basically do no damage and do not stun you for very long. I've been shocked several times and I've only taken 9 damage due to the fact the severity is only at 18%. When the anomaly pulses, it will shoot out electrical beams, where minimum it will shoot out is 2, and as severity increases, it will be up to 5. The range of these electric shocks, I believe, is the same as the random electric shocks I'm taking right now, like that. So the electricity bolts are the same range as the actual pulse. I'm going to pulse the anomaly very quickly. If you are within range, which this is a very short range at low severity, we'll cover this in greater detail in a moment. But if I'm standing right here without insulated gloves, I will get shocked and take 5 damage. This damage actually does not go up with severity, so the pulse is actually not something you generally are worried about for people's safety. However, there's a big asterisk here. This will only shock things that have the lightning component. So if I stand this far away and pulse it, nothing will happen. There is nothing within range that has that component. So other objects that fit this category are devices that use electricity. So any machine, so it could be a computer, substation, SMES, lathe, will be hit by these lightning bolts. Airlocks are also another common one. A common misconception is that lights are something that will be struck by electrical anomalies. That is not true. Usually what happens, there's a device such as a substation or a door near a light, then that will get hit by the lightning and that will explode. So let me pulse it. These are very close range, and both of them will get shocked. Due to the fact that it was a substation, it can cause massive damage, because not only do substations explode, the lightning hitting it will cause explosions, and devices close together will basically chain react and do a ton of damage. Structures take massive amounts of damage per hit. For example, I'm only taking 5 damage for each electrical shock. Structures hit by these lightning bolts will take massive amounts of damage. For example, the airlock will actually take over 150 regardless of severity, just like how I will only take 5 damage regardless of severity. So what actually happens when the electric anomaly increases the severity? Well, let's increase the severity, and it's pretty obvious right away what happens when it gets a higher severity. Basically, the range at which you can be passively shocked will increase massively. So before I had to be standing basically on top of it, but at 60-ish or 50-ish%, that starts expanding out 2 to 3 tiles away. The max range this can go out is actually many tiles. It's like 4 or 5 tiles further. I think technically it can go up to like 7, but I'm not entirely sure if that's diameter or radius. But see, I'm standing much further away. The shock will do significantly more damage, up to 20 at max severity, so you do not want severity to get higher on this. And it can stun you for longer, and if you get unlucky, you can get chain stunned and take a lot of damage. The amount of lightning bolts this thing also shoots off will increase, or does increase, as we get more severity. So around this severity, we're definitely not going to have 2 bolts anymore. We'll probably have 3. Just to test, I will spawn an airlock in like each direction, and I'll stand in the corner. We'll see if we're even up to 4. Nope, we're only up to 3 at 60% severity, so probably 80% will get us to 4th, and then past that will probably be the 5th. But even as we can also see here, wearing insulated gloves does not protect you from the random shock. So before we do some more strict testing, the primary ways to avoid electric anomalies being painful is to not let them get high severity, and if you can, make sure or try to move any machines away from it in a large radius. If I stand over here, keep the ape far away. So when you're going to set up your ape, for example, you really really want your ape to be further than you think the electricity and lightning bolts can possibly hit. Because if the lightning hits it, it'll hit it and explode and possibly kill anyone near it. You also really want to try to tell people to stay away from a large area around it. So, unfortunately, if an electric anomaly is in a public area like the bar, medical, or anywhere that's not kind of just off in a corner somewhere on the station, you have to get rid of it. Look at, it's not only hurting me pretty bad and stunning me from this far of a range, this makes departments unusable, and this is only a 60% severity. Something you can try to do, and this is probably going to be a Hail Mary, if you can get the transformation type to go to less severe pulses, this anomaly becomes basically harmless and you'll generate less points. But unlike other anomalies, there's no real working around this anomaly. It's really entirely dependent on location. If it's in an area with like outside airlocks, you have to kill it, or else you are going to space the station. You can possibly wall it off and accept that you'll never be able to use those airlocks again. You and like deconstruct them. You can't just leave them there because they'll explode. Those are options. We might as well get to this. It's super crit will basically shock everything in a massive range with the lightning bolts. It will even have an EMP effect on machines. So just to show you the range, this is off screen. I'll put a substation down. I'll put it on a tile to make sure that there's absolutely no chance that any of it's draining. And let's just put a random machine down like a close mate. Basically in a massive AoE, this is going to shock people, do a ton of damage to the people that it does shock, and it will EMP everything for at least a minute in a large area. It will drain batteries of certain devices. Substations and SMESs are not really affected. You could just see it will shock things literally in different parts of the station. You can see the EMP effect on things on basically on separate stations. You can see the widespread damage, machines entirely destroyed. The electric anomaly is probably one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous. The substation exploded from there. You can see the effects reaching almost 2 full screens away. So trying to categorize and calculate the actual damage of an electric anomaly is not worth the risk. You do not ever want to risk it super critting. Some anomaly super critting you can deal with, but this one super critting could kill dozens, shut down departments for 15, 20 plus minutes. You, even with your gloves, are going to die. It is not a good time. So just to showcase if the area where you can get lucky, this is one of the ones that's very lucky. Yes, it's going to pulse more, but the strength is lower. So even if I were to get the severity rather high on this one, like I'll get it back up to the 70% the other one was. If I put people further away than before, we're just going to line them all up and we'll see who actually gets shocked and who doesn't. So let me just literally spawn a bunch of people in a row above it, like so. And we're going to pulse it just to see just to see the differences of having the reduced strength actually is. People only one tile away are getting shocked, yet we're actually making more points by a lot because, yeah, it's pulsing more, but remember, the lightning range is basically the same as the electrocution range. So we're actually really only making a small area uninhabitable, and it greatly can increase your odds of having a good lightning anomaly. But again, if you don't make a good effort of walling this area off, people are likely to get themselves hurt, possibly killed, and that is on you as a scientist. You have to make this stuff safe. And also, while it's growing actually can increase the effects. So let me pulse it again. And we'll see that even though the severity wasn't really higher, it actually did gain range. So again, another thing to keep an eye out for safety with these things is you really want to limit and monitor what phase its severity is at. And if it's growing, you need to absolutely make sure that it doesn't pulse while it's growing. However, if you are close to it, you might get shocked, and that could really slow down your time to reduce its anomaly state back to stable. And just a reference, this is a 30%er, and we're back to already shocking people further away than the 80% with the less severe pulses, just to give a reference of how far this can actually affect you. So we have a totally vanilla electric anomaly, just spawned, 38% severity and stable. We're going to see how far this will actually affect people. Let me actually probably increase the range a little bit. So right now, it can really only shock 2 or 3 people minimum. It can go up to 5 maximum at higher severity, and again, the rate of electrocution, the damage goes up and the frequency of random electrocutions goes up as the severity goes up. Let me just pulse the anomaly real quick, and we'll see, yes, even at 30% severity, it can definitely hit people 3 tiles away. So even at low severity, this can make rooms basically uninhabitable because you're just constantly going to get knocked down, take damage, and have machines get blown up. This is why the electric anomaly kind of sucks to have. So let's do some more severity. Let's just go up to 75. We'll pulse. Still only actually hitting this person right here. So if anything, this is an indication that if you get an electric anomaly in a decent place, you should actually try to get the severity higher. But unfortunately, it did go to growing. So again, maybe higher severity in a decent spot is the way to go on these things. Of course, if you let it super crit, you're going to be hopefully fired. Now, once it gets to growing, it can jump further, but even at 80%, it doesn't seem like it can shoot people 3 or more tiles away. So that, I think that's probably a decent indicator for science points specifically. You want to try to always keep this stable, which is pretty much true for most of them. Literally as high severity as it can get. The range seemingly has not increased, but if it were to pulse into growing, you would have a pretty bad time. And just to double check that the range didn't increase, yeah, no, it didn't. So the range seemingly is either just specific to this one, or the range doesn't increase that much per severity. But remember, now the electrocution chances and damage is much, much higher, but we can see the damage this is doing at a high severity. So yes, it looks like it might be ideal for higher severity, but remember, there is no tanking this damage. You can't get through with insulated gloves. So yeah, you might not hit some random dude 5,000 miles away, but anyone who walks near it and gets shocked is practically going to be already having to head to medbay for some ointment, possibly even harder medicine. And what would an advanced guide be without some method of taming the beast? This is not very practical, but you can attempt to seek this out if you have the resources. Say you have either cargo connections or maybe engineering has extra of these. Grounding rods can help massively with maintaining this. Remember, at lower severities at the electric anomaly, it shoots out less lightning bolts. Well, grounding rods are a primary target for lightning bolts. Tesla coils are not quite as likely to get hit, but can get hit. But you can do something like setting up a Tesla coil on a high voltage power cable up to an SMES with a cable terminal, and one little shock, I only did one, charged it 12%. If I were to pulse it again, we can see that the charging indicator is indeed on there. It is getting its 5 kilowatts in. We can technically increase this and charge it even faster from just the one Tesla coil. So you can use these to make power, and a decent bit of it. It's not bad. Also, just for reference, I'm standing away from the grounding rods. If I were to spam pulse this, I can get shocked. It's not impossible for me to get shocked, but it is very, very unlikely. And we have basically are going to full charge this SMES because Tesla coils kind of act as batteries themselves now and will deposit it to the SMES. So you can make great benefit out of this. However, if you stand too close like this, you can get shocked more likely, but as you can see, this is way, way different than our other scenarios. So in the best case scenario, if you can manage to do this, set this up, you are good to go. Mostly, people can still be stupid and hurt themselves on it, but as long as it's not like 90% severity, this can be kept in a lot more locations than just an untamed one. And in case you're not convinced, I'll literally put explosive substations at equal distance to the Tesla coils, and it can happen. But look at the unlikelihood of that. That is 6 pulses in a row, not even maintaining if it's stable or unstable, and it's still safe. Is this completely safe? No. Is this mostly safe? Yeah. Anyways, I don't think I can go any further in depth on this, but people are requesting a more in-depth look at specific anomalies, like I did one a while ago in the Shadow Anomaly. Anyways, thank you for watching.